Guys, I don't care anymore. I do not care anymore. In a good way. I mean this in a positive way. I am learning the art of letting go. The subtle art of, if there's a book with that name, of not giving a care. I'm learning the art of letting go. That's very different for me, because normally I like to have a iron-fisted grip on everything, and I think everything matters to the nth degree all the time, just everything. I don't have that natural sense of maybe this one doesn't matter. Maybe if you were looking for that one snow globe to put on the mantle, maybe that is not the most important thing about your family's celebration of God becoming flesh, like God who created the whole universe coming into human form as a baby. Maybe Jen's mantle decorations are not what we should be teaching the children is the main point of God becoming incarnate and dying for our sins and opening the door to eternal life. Counterpoint, though, maybe it is. We can't be sure. I will ask the Pope. I don't have that internal sense that my husband thought this was funny. When I was on tour last week, wonderful group of shows, Des Moines, and the other cities. Where was I? That's the thing about it. Wait. Des Moines, Omaha, Kansas City. Okay, yeah. Right. When I was returning my rental car in Des Moines, I was in this parking garage and it was very cold. And when I say cold, this is Des Moines cold. No joke. The wind chill was like 5 below or something. Oof. Very windy. And I hear this screaming between two people. And it escalated and it escalated. And I do not mean this was a loud argument. I mean, in my entire life, maybe one other time have I in person heard this kind of raw, visceral screaming from human beings. And I was like, this is definitely about to get physical, whatever is happening. But I didn't feel super stressed about that, actually. My main concern was being cold. And so I just got my stuff out of the car. My husband was like, ooh, see, I would have driven somewhere else. I would have driven to safety. I would have kept the doors locked. I was like, I felt like, I don't know, it'll probably work out. So I got my stuff out. So then I realized it's the employees. What? It's two employees screaming at each other, a man and a woman. This is the same rental car company that they gave me a car with a not slow but fast leak in one of the tires last time. The time before that, the car completely broke down, just completely, engine failed on me. And then now I go to return the car and it is a just UFC cage match with a lot of screaming. But honestly, I love this rental car company and I'll never leave them. I really enjoy working with them for some reason. So my main concern as I was trying to get this rental car returned is that I was cold and they could not process my return as long as they were screaming at each other. And so I was kind of trying to jump in hey, and they're, oh, you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, hey, guys, because I got to get to my flight. And my husband thought that was remarkable. That did not trigger within me my fight or flight instinct. That did not hit my nervous system. We have been talking so much about the nervous system, how to calm down your nervous system, how to get out of funds, a term that I made up called fired up
nervous system.
Thank you, Caitlin. It's been a long day. Fired up nervous system. Yes. You'd think I'd know because I made up the term. That's how this podcast works. I make up terms and then I forget what they are. So it is interesting. I guess I should say that I don't categorize all stressors as equal. Anything that matters doesn't hit my nervous system. Another example is getting diagnosed with a blood clot and being unable to receive medical care. Listen to the last episode of this fine podcast in January of 2024. Did I sound stressed? My life was actually in danger. It was literally in danger. I did not sound stressed because I wasn't. When I got hospitalized for bilateral pulmonary embolisms, very often fatal, my lungs were full of blood clots. Some of them were so big you could see it with the naked eye on a CT scan. My main concern was what I was going to order off of the hospital menu. I was living my best life. Caitlin's an overwhelmed mom. I mean, she gets it. Caitlin, when I was hospitalized with the bilateral pulmonary embolisms, I had a corner room, and it had like windows all of, on one wall and then the other. And it was a huge room. It was like bigger than the studio that we're in right now. Yeah, no, I was like, this is amazing. Like I should have gotten blood clots in my lungs way before this. I was so relaxed. I mean, honestly, better than a beach vacation because like nobody was really trying to talk to me other than the nurses. Well, full disclosure of who you take advice from when you listen to this podcast. Okay, this is actually not a joke. Hit the I'm serious, it's not a joke sound effect. The special one. Yeah. Okay. This is not a joke, guys. If you listen to my episode from June of 2024, this past summer, where I talked about my mom rented like kind of a mansion Airbnb, and we spent a week there. And I had a complete meltdown from stress. My stress level was 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. My suppressed stress level, which is really what hits your nervous system, it causes chronic pain, creative blocks, all sorts of stuff. That was a gazillion trillion on a scale of 1 to 10. So what we are learning is that when Jen is at luxury Airbnbs, very stressful situation for Jen. You've got to, thoughts and prayers, check in, see if she's doing okay. May or may not live hospitalized with bilateral pulmonary embolisms that are making it difficult to breathe and filling her lungs more and more by the minute. Not stressed. Jen will be praying for you in that situation. Like truly, I was so happy because there was like no responsibility on me. I could order food. I had a nice big room. Well, I didn't mean to get that crazy this quickly into the episode. So if you want to, never listen to this podcast again, I would understand that. So, okay. Well, the point is that I have a strange wiring with my nervous system, and you guys probably, I've no doubt that you are not this crazy, but you probably have something similar where often the little things that really should not be sources of stress to you are big sources of stress to you, like not being able to find the snow globe to put on your mantle, or just little things like that. Like you just feel tortured because you're feeling really overwhelmed by making your kids lunch every day. And, you're telling yourself like, I'm such a bad mother. I'm such a bad mother if I don't do this, because I see the influencers like I have to make his lunch every day. And you're like, he's only 28. I mean, he can't do this on his own if I don't do it. So you've got these soundtracks running through your head of these things that cause you a lot of stress. Some of us have this more than others, but I think we all do it. There are just little things that can really torture us, and the holidays is when it tends to come up. And this is true, by the way, my male listeners too. I think probably you guys are not as much, losing your minds about not being able to find the snow globe for the mantle place, but maybe for you, it's that you can't afford to buy a gift for your kid that they really want, and it's torturing you. That are you you just wish you could buy that one thing for him. The kid deserves a Ferrari. Like, I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah, you might feel that too. It's it's not a life or death issue, but it's something that really winds you up. I am learning to let all these things go, and one of the paradigm shifts that is helping me is it's to almost think of my life as having a laugh track instead of an epic, Game of Thrones style soundtrack. Because when you are like me and you take all the wrong things too seriously, you are living in an episode of Game of Thrones. You're living in an episode of some absolute epic where everything is high stakes. That's the thing about epic novels, about epic TV shows, about that whole genre. There's nothing that doesn't matter. Lord of the Rings, it wasn't like, well, whatever, they can get the ring or not, it'll be fine. The burning eye, what's the burning eye gonna do? I haven't read those books in a very long time, but there is a burning eye and there's a ring and the eye wants the ring back and they have to get it to him or something. The point is everything is high stakes in an epic. Whereas in a sitcom, everything is low stakes. You need to switch genres. The art of letting go, the art of not taking yourself and the details of your life and your parenting and all of that so seriously. Think of it as a switch in genres. Are you living in Game of Thrones or are you living in a sitcom? Think of so we actually have soundtracks for this. Okay, so this is the way I typically think. Do the dramatic soundtrack. This is my default way of living. I really hope that I don't get a YouTube copyright strike for playing this music, because if I do, then my whole career will be a disaster, more so than it already is. I couldn't find the snow globe. And now my kids are going to think that I'm a complete disaster. And, well, they already know that, but my kids are going to go over to their friends' houses. They have snow globes. They could find their snow globe and replay it when we get to the end. I didn't celebrate the Feast of St. Polycarp. All of my kids are going to be atheists now. Didn't celebrate the feast. Who doesn't celebrate the Feast of St. Polycarp? This one influencer, she did a 5-hour glitter craft with her kids for the Feast of St. Polycarp. And I call myself a mother. My kids they're going to be atheists, and they're going to move to Sweden, and they're going to never speak to me again. And it all started with me not being able to find the snow globe. Okay. All right, so we can pause that music. Now, when I finish saying any one of these lines, Caitlin, hit the laugh track, okay?
Okay.
So when you switch your genre to a sitcom, it'll be like, oh, I couldn't find the snow globe. Okay? Yeah, you can do just like a second of it.
Okay.
We work out our sound effects in real time on this podcast. Imagine my kids going over to their friends' houses where their moms have everything together, and their mom is like, hey child, hey Fulwiler child, tell me, what has your mommy done to decorate the house for the holidays? That'd be a funny moment. And they go over to their friend's house, and their friend's mom is like, oh my goodness, would you look at that? I am so sorry. There is a crumb on the floor. My goodness gracious. Fulwiler child, can you even imagine, have you ever seen a crumb on the floor at your house? Switch genres. We need to switch genres. Just admit your whole life has a laugh track to it. You don't have it together. You probably don't if you're tracking with me on this podcast. There are many aspects of your life that are not together. And you can flip out about it like I do with my whacked out nervous system that is like, fine that, these two people at the rental car return might be about to kill each other. And I might get wrapped up in that, but it is not stressing me out because I only stress out about minutia that my nervous system is convinced is the be all end all and is like way worse than any, physical threat to me. It is a profound shift to start imagining the laugh track, especially since many of us have these messages that roll around in our heads, these voices. And I don't mean literal voices. I don't mean like, the Green Goblin mask, like hang up on your husband. Like it's not, I don't mean literally that, but I mean, just again, let's say you look at the calendar. We're recording this the day before release. It's what is it, the 10th? Is that right?
Uh-huh.
And you're like, how is it December 10th? Well, now I might as well not even get these decorations up because the holiday season is just basically gone. We currently, Caitlin can confirm, we have an empty Advent wreath on our Christmas table because man, those stick candles are really expensive. And you go through them so fast and then they get all uneven. That's the kind of thing that stresses me out. Someone could walk up to me with a knife and I would be like, get out of my, like, please just go. That wouldn't be like that stressful to me. Figuring out what to do with these overpriced candles that burn down really quickly and they are uneven. This is not a joke. More stressful. It really is because my nervous system is completely out of whack. So when those moments happen, many of us have these feelings, messages, vibes, whatever you want to call it, within us that are saying something to us. Often we have not fully articulated them because we don't do JournalSpeak because we're not listening to Jen and we don't want to get our lives to get better. But a lot of us have not articulated what those messages are, but we kind of feel them. A friend of mine who had a mom who was, a very, she tried. She was a caring person, but her mom had her own trauma and her mom had a horrible temper. And I saw this in her house when she was growing up. One time, my friend was doing chores and she knocked something over on the living room table and it was like a tall candle or something. I don't think it broke, but it was very loud and it sounded like it would break. And her mom, who also did not do JournalSpeak, had a lot of unresolved trauma. Her mom just lost it. And I was standing there as her mom said, you're a loser. You're just a loser. Like you just can't do anything right. And her mom just unloaded on her. And again, it's like, but the next day her mom gave her a hug, was like, I'm sorry, I lost my temper. So it wasn't like her mom was always like that, but there were those moments. And so this friend of mine said that whenever she would mess something up, let's say she was cooking for her kids or whatever, and she knocked over a cup of milk on the table, her nervous system would go crazy. And what she realized later is it's that feeling of, well, you're a loser. Like you just can't, you knock things over, like you can't do anything right. And so that is where, like, when we can replace that negativity, those negative messages, when we can replace it with...
Which one?
Laughter? The laugh track.
You got real laughter.
Yeah. And then, because you know what it is like...
My bad.
Yeah, that would be funny if you hit the dramatic music. As you can see, we spent hours preparing this podcast. Because Caitlin and I have all the free time in the world. Caitlin just has 4 kids. I have 6. No, we're just doing nothing over here but preparing this podcast. It's just the holiday season. We have it nailed down. I'm bored. I have wrapped all of my gifts. They're all here. They're done, and I came in under budget, Caitlin.
Ah.
We have done 7 Advent crafts. And we do ring around the Jesse tree. The Jesse tree is a Catholic thing.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I wasn't making that up. No, it's not like, Jesse Romero or something. No, it's a Catholic thing. Yeah. And we've gone Christmas caroling. and ministered to the homeless. So all of that happened in an alternate universe, and that's why this podcast is so well prepped today, because Caitlin and I got nothing but time. We're ahead of schedule. We're a day ahead and $1 ahead. And I say once again, we are still in setup. I'm just setting up this episode. You get more value out of the setup of this podcast than you do of all the lesser podcasts that you're wasting your time with. You get more out of the setup of this podcast. Welcome to the Jen Fulwiler Show, the finest podcast. We can't figure out how it's free. It's the finest podcast ever, changing your life with every episode. I am your host, Jen. We are coming to you from Austin, Texas. We publish new episodes every single Wednesday morning, even at the expense of our sanity, our health, our wills to live. This is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That is being a hot girl boss, or hot boy boss who knows that love and family and community are the foundations of all true success. Caitlin White is our lovely producer. We're killing it on Patreon. I've got all the archives of my State of the Dumpster Fire addresses, where I talked a lot of smack about what has been going on with me. I mean, I did screenshots of financial statements, people who have crossed me and what I think about them crossing me. All of that is on there. And we also do after parties where we keep talking about whatever the subject is. For this episode, we do Village Hustle Patreon, which is my life advice. That's the higher level. Lots and lots of good stuff. Patreon.com/thisisjen. Patreon.com/thisisjen. And just when you think this podcast couldn't add any more value to your life, we have been doing lock screens, phone wallpaper for each episode, and it is totally free. You do not have to sign up for anything. It is like you literally click, hold it down, hit save to photos or whatever, and you can make it your lock screen if you want to remember the things we've talked about or whatever. The link is in the show notes for that. You can get that link in the notes that come with every single episode. You'll see the notes here on this one, and link is in the show notes, and you can get phone wallpaper for this episode and others. I am taking a couple months off from tour. I will be back on the road in Buffalo, Royal Oak, and Columbus in March. Would you believe me if I told you I still haven't announced? No, not only, wait, let me start over. Not only have I still not announced Virginia Beach and Philly, I still haven't figured out what the third city is even. It has been on my list. That is how busy I have been. I've been talking about this for more than a month. That is how insanely, dizzyingly, mind-numbingly busy I have been. I still don't know what the third city is. I can't wait to find out. Now, if you're a sleuth, you can get tickets. If you're a sleuth, I'm going to comedy clubs. And I'm actually not trying to be mysterious. I just forget which ones I'm going to in Philadelphia and Virginia Beach. And again, the city would be, it's a triangle, guys. We do triangulation with these 3-day tours. So there is a city that is within the triangle of Philadelphia, Virginia Beach, and I'm also going there. And one day, I will find out what that city is. We will be on a journey of discovery together. Caitlin, play our fine tour announcement promo music.
She was dropped by her agent and manager on the same day. Iconic. Now she's entered her villain era and she's back on tour anyway. Jen Fulwiler. News gonna get dropped. Jen Fulwiler. But she just can't be stopped. Jen Fulwiler. The show is gonna pop. Takes that JFComedyTour.com. JFComedyTour.com.
Caitlin, would you make a note to get a poster to put on YouTube with that, so that our 2 YouTube viewers can see maybe some cities I'm actually going to at any point? Okay, you guys are hilarious is the first thing that I want to say, because I got the funniest email I hope she got a reply. I hope you told her how funny I found this. You guys are so funny. So she couldn't leave an Apple Podcast review. I guess maybe she's famous or something. I don't know. She couldn't leave an Apple Podcast review, but she sent this email. So a little bit of backstory so that you will understand how brilliantly funny this excerpt is. So I talk a lot about how I am from what I affectionately call the Catholic ghetto. So she says she is from a section so very deep in the Catholic ghetto that she refers to it as the Catholic slums. So that is background number one. The second bit of background is that if you have looked at the fine archives of this podcast, the very first episode is called Prison Lesbian Easter. It was published in March or April of 2020. And in it, I detailed a real low point in my life. It was during lockdown and it was Easter. Obviously, we had planned to go to church and do the traditional Easter thing. And we went to my mom's house for Easter. And I just didn't care anymore. I mean, but not in a happy way like now. It's like it was in a despair. My life is over. My career is over. I mean, I was just in such a place of despair. And we did not take into account the fact that my mom has old school cable and it is unlimited. She's got Cinemax. She's got Cinemax 2. She's got Cinemax After Dark or whatever all this stuff is. So we hear like the sounds of women, shouting at each other, and we hear, hey, blankety blank, I'm going to punish you for being you're so bad. You're going to get punished. We're like, what are we hearing? They were watching on one of these channels a movie called Prison Lesbians 2. And it was Easter. It was Easter. And my children were spending Easter watching Prison Lesbians Easter. And we walked over, they were spending Easter watching Prison Lesbians 2. So that is why I called it Prison Lesbian Easter. The very first, that was a great way to start this podcast, if we're being honest. That really was a great, that really sets your expectations. If you're like, oh, what's the vibe of this podcast? Very accurate, very early accuracy there. And I had a couple of thoughts, like what was the cliffhanger at the end of the first Prison Lesbians that would call for a sequel, okay, stop. I could speculate, but I watched a minute of it. And I told my kids, I said, you should know this is not what Prison Lesbians look like. They all looked like Sabrina Carpenter, complete with the glossy hair and the dewy makeup and the lash extensions. I was like, yeah, this isn't a documentary, guys. It's not a documentary. And I sat there, I kind of got sucked into the plot for an embarrassing amount of time before I was like, wait, what are we doing? It's Easter. It's Easter. Okay, so this is all set up so that I can show how funny you guys are. I actually forgot I think this gal doesn't want me to use her name anyway, so never mind. I wouldn't read her name anyway. She says, her experiences in the Catholic slums and just hearing toxic messages that can come from some corners of, people who like to write fan fiction about what they imagine this religion to be rather than like what it actually is. She says, it makes me want to join a lesbian biker gang. Oh, that's another early podcast reference. I was yelling about something. I actually don't remember what it was, but I was telling you guys, I said, listen, my corner of culture, my corner of society, the nice, good church-going people, you guys aren't getting it done. It was something with like, I don't know, there was something like very objectifying of women or something. So I just, in a fit of pique, I shouted that I was going to shave my head and join a lesbian biker gang. So, okay. and then but see, that was before I knew about nervous system regulation. I do JournalSpeak now. So now I will not be shouting about how I'm going to shave my head and join a lesbian biker gang. Like if I do it, I'll just do it in peace. I won't shout about it. Okay. So she says, it makes me want to join the toxicity of certain sections of culture. It makes me want to join a lesbian biker gang and or become a serial killer. I love you guys. She says, next time your haters talk blank about you, just remember that it's the people like you who have prevented my life from being the inspiration for Prison Lesbians 3. That's the funniest thing anyone's ever said to me. That is the greatest compliment. You guys, I could receive a Grammy for one of my comedy albums. That would not measure up to being told that my podcast prevented someone's life from being the inspiration for Prison Lesbians 3. She says, you are doing a valuable service to women and the culture of life by showing that motherhood doesn't require you to masochistically abandon all your dreams and aspirations. I love this too. She says, you are truly the Mother Teresa of the Catholic slums. Some of the things you say makes me foam at the mouth and shout, how is this podcast free? I mean, if she had been like, I've written something for you, but you have to Venmo me $50 to receive it. If I had done that, and then she sent me this letter, because it went on. I mean, this wasn't the only thing. I'd be like, that was a bargain. Honestly, she didn't charge me enough. Like that. What is it like? Is it Black Friday? Is it buy one get one? I mean, the Mother Teresa of the Catholic slums. So funny, so accurate. Honestly, I do feel like I'm pulling lepers. These lepers are like, they're on the streets. They're like, I'll never be a Proverbs 31 woman. And I'm like, come with me. Come with me. We can be Psalm 64 women. God will lay a table of vengeance before me. Okay. So let's see. We set a new record, I think, by doing 20 minutes on setup. So let me think. Okay, I'm actually, all right. This topic, this podcast is, I mean, talk about abundance. I have too many topics to hit in one episode. So, okay, this one we'll do this next week. Okay, so here, I have a great story from my, not this past run of shows, but the one before. It is a story of the culture of life. It is a story of that kind of proves that the culture of life, we are a minority. We are not understood. And it's also a story of how Jen avoided ruining a lot of people's evenings because I have been doing nervous system regulation, which we will talk about in the main topic with this, see your life as a sitcom, not this like heavy-handed drama. Because this podcast is a tapestry, like all of the subjects, they weave together perfectly. So then when you're listening to these lesser podcasts that are not this one, that get like 10,000x the number of views that mine do on YouTube, you should just be like, but is it a tapestry? Is it a tapestry? Are the topics seamlessly woven together? Okay. No. So I really, actually, this is where, play that dramatic music. This is worth it. Listen. Oh, you guys. This was, really try to be with me. Try to be with me as you imagine the stress that I was under in this moment. Okay, thank you, Caitlin, for the music. Okay. So I was at this. Okay, this was at my St. Louis show. there is a lot that I have to manage because the good Lord in his wisdom has not seen fit to send me the comedy millions just yet, right around the corner. We have no doubt, but not here just yet. So what that means is it doesn't make financial sense for me to travel with staff, for me to travel with, bring my own openers out, bring my own film guys out, or whatever. Touring is going really well. It's going great. But because the comedy millions are not here just yet, I can't be paying for other people's airfare and like all this stuff. Having a one woman setup makes a lot of sense financially and otherwise. And also it is critical when you are in my line of work. I really need to film every show because that is the best way that you get your name out there and ultimately have a more robust career, make more money, and just, get introduce more people to what you do is to just get good clips. And it would just suck if you had this amazing show, like the most hilarious stuff happens. And then, it's like if a tree falls in the forest, it's like, well, you didn't get it on video. So all this is to say, when I travel, I do 3 shows, 3 cities, 3 days. I drive myself between these cities, and I need to set up my own camera equipment and my own audio equipment at each show. This is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. What's funny is I'm often in the back of the showroom setting stuff up, and people don't realize it's me, and they're talking about me in the show, and I can hear them. And I'm like, yeah, well, I guess they wouldn't guess that the headliner is out here like doing manual labor, like putting up this camera. I see how you wouldn't see that was me. So the point that I am trying to make is that I have to keep a million things in my mind at once when I do shows. It's very mentally overwhelming. And little things like making sure I tip my green room server, because you're assigned a server who brings you food or whatever you want in the green room. And how bad would I feel if I walk out of there and I don't give her a tip? Or there's all sorts of stuff. Oh, well, here's a big one. Sitting my opener down and being like, let's discuss your definition of clean comedy versus my definition. And, and just giving them a chance to be like, hey, I have this joke about this really freaky thing I did. As part of the sacrament of matrimony. I mean, we're talking, every detail that you can imagine, just really graphically laid out, but I don't say any F-bombs too much. So that's clean comedy, right? And that's always a great dialogue for me to have with my openers where I'm like, wow, wonderful. Okay, so not even close. Yeah, none of that. As an aside, and I do remember where I'm going and we will get back to the main topic, Caitlin, do you recall when I was at a show, we will not identify which show, but I sent you an all caps series of texts and I said, gosh, sometimes we're not on the same page with openers about what clean comedy is. My goodness gracious. I think that's exactly what I said.
Yep.
And I said, hey, no hurry, but whenever you have a moment, would you send an email to every remaining show and tell them that the openers can't do any jokes at all that of a sexual nature? Like that topic is now off the table because there probably is a way to do innuendo and keep it clean, but the people I'm working with we don't share that same vision. Do you recall that?
Oh yeah, very vividly.
Caitlin, whatever it was that you said in these emails, you are quite a wordsmith because so guys, normally when we send things to clubs, they get a million emails from a million artists and their management and all that. It doesn't, a lot of times details get missed. And I understand it. If I ran a club, it would get missed too. It's just like saying words into the wind to tell a club, your like requirements or whatever. It is 99% of the time it is missed. I mean, you could, be like, I have this one allergy, and if you guys serve French fries at all, I will die on stage, and they'll miss it. They'll be like, yeah, we didn't see that one.
Oops.
So it is remarkable to me that every single event that I have had since that moment, the first thing they're like, okay, we got Caitlin's email. Is they're like, one guy was like, okay, I'm going to reference that I'm married. Is that too sexual? And I'm like, wow, what did she say in that email? Because for once, that email got read. Like nothing else. I mean, it could be something really serious, like we're filming a comedy special. And they're like, oh yeah, we missed that. But man, Caitlin, you are a wordsmith. Whatever you said in that email, they all got the memo. Okay, so. I mean, at some point you'll have to tell me what you said. The point is that I am keeping many, 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 many things in my mind on show night, not to mention just remembering the freaking material that I'm about to deliver. It's comedy. I have to make you guys laugh a couple of times per minute for an hour. I have to remember all that. I think I have properly established that there's a lot on my mind. So when I get hit with curveballs, that can definitely be a tipping point of stress, especially if it is a curveball that negatively affects any of you guys, because I love you guys. I know your lives. I know the sacrifices that you make to come out to these shows. I know that money does not grow on trees, and the money you're spending to be there it's no joke. I know all of this. And it's very present in my mind. And it's one of the reasons I'm thinking about so many things, because I want to make sure that you guys have a great experience. Okay. Now, because this is all to just so that you guys can be fully with me with what happens. Okay. With what happened here. So I'm in St. Louis, and this is the first of 3 cities, 3 shows, 3 days. So I'm a little bit just, thinking about the other shows and all that. So I'm getting set up, and the club manager, thank God, they read another email that Caitlin sent. I have a thing that says, if people bring babies to your club and you're not legally allowed to let them in, just let me know. I at least want to talk to them. I don't want them just turned away at the door, because different clubs have different policies. It depends on the county laws. It's not even state laws. It's county laws. Can you have minors in a bar? Because they're designated as bars. So the manager comes up and he says, yeah, with our liquor license, the way it works in this county, we cannot have any minors at all, even if they're with parents. And somebody showed up with a baby. So I go out to the lobby to talk to them. And this, my dear, I call her my friend now. I just met her at a previous show. We're friends now. We've been through a lot together. Okay, so this gal, Corey, she got the whole squad out for my show, which I so appreciate. This is a Tuesday night show. It's not the most convenient location for a lot of my fans. And she brought the whole squad out. Corey had sent Caitlin an email saying that she had seen me in Kansas City coming out to the St. Louis show. Can they bring baby? She just wanted to check. Caitlin forwarded it to me. See, that's a mistake involving my brain in anything that matters. And we now have a policy of leave Jen out of it, because I will mess this up. I saw the email. Obviously, I care a lot. I'm very checked in. But see, this is how my brain works. I care a lot, missed the details. Because Corey started the email talking about Kansas City, and I was also going to Kansas City on this tour, and I remember her, she brought merch. She had me sign a little poster she made that said Catholic ghetto seating section, and they sat in the front row. I remember Corey very well, and I remember her from Kansas City. So I replied to Caitlin. I said, ask the KC venue if they can bring babies, and yeah, just let her know. I missed the part that she was coming to St. Louis, not Kansas City. We learned that Kansas City has different laws. So she gets the whole squad out, including a mom with a new baby. And then they can't come in, and they all rode in one car. And we certainly don't want the mom with the baby to, just be sitting outside. And you guys, so play the dramatic music. This was what was going on in my brain. Can you imagine how terrible I felt? They spent the money on tickets. They spent all this time. These are moms. These are busy, busy, busy women. They coordinated childcare with their spouses. They got babysitters. They got the whole group together. Do you know how hard it is to get, like, there were 6 or 7 or 8 of them. Do you know how hard it is? Okay, thank you on the music. Do you know how hard it is to get women in that demographic all in one room at the same time? I know. And so Corey was obviously like not happy. Of course. I mean, she was like, oh my gosh, this is why I sent the email. I was trying to make sure this didn't happen. And I was like, I know. Okay. So this is right when I had started doing my nervous system work. I had just started doing JournalSpeak. I had done a lot of JournalSpeak the night before. And so I was able to switch into laugh track mode. Oh. Yeah. I was able to lighten up and laugh at myself and like, oh, there we go. But see, and this is where, only real talk on this podcast, only real talk. We're all living real lives, myself and you guys listening, where real people depend on us. We're not just like podcast bros sitting alone in an apartment with like nobody depending on us for anything ever. Other people are affected when we mess up. And so that can be hard sometimes. It can be hard to switch into sitcom mode when it's like, I mean, I can laugh at myself all day long, but I can't have these people turned away. But the law says the baby can't come in. And I was just like, okay, I believe that God looks out for fools. I believe that maybe it was a God thing. It had to have been. Like, surely God will work this out. So because I was in laugh track mode, guys, I kid you not, I might have actually started crying. If I was that stressed out, just generally, I hadn't slept very well. I'd been traveling. 50-50 chance I would have actually started crying, which is a great way if you're coming out to a comedy show. Like, oh, great, our headliner she's crying. So this is good. This is what we paid for. So because I had been doing my nervous system work, learning to let go, learning to hear the laugh track instead of the Game of Thrones soundtrack, I said to the mom with a baby, I said, why don't you come take a look at my green room? You can sit in my green room. And the manager, he was very sweet. He was very helpful. He said, well, you can't, like, they don't have a feed. Some green rooms do have a television that has a feed of the stage, but this one didn't. And he was like, I mean, I don't think that's a great place to sit because it's not, you can't see the stage. There's no TV. And I was like, you don't know my God. I didn't say it, but I was thinking, I was like, but I just think, look, God blesses the culture of life. Anyone who's part of it knows when there are babies involved, I just can't explain it. Like when you welcome life, whether it's through, you're having a baby, like surprise, you're pregnant, having a baby, or just like, having a mom and baby in your green room, or just inviting people over to your house, even if it doesn't involve babies. Let me tell you, when you welcome life, God is with you. He just blesses those situations. And I have, since I went over to the culture of life many years ago, I've always found that to be true. And it is one of my deepest beliefs because I've just seen it so many times. So I said, let's just go to the green room. That's the other thing you can do to calm your nervous system in stressful situations. Just quite literally do the next right thing. I could not think of anything to do other than say, hey, I want to go to my green room. So I took the whole squad to my green room. And what we realized once we were standing in there is that this green room has a door that opens onto the stage. They don't always, but this one does, hidden behind a curtain. So that, that's a whole thing, me trying to find my way off of a stage. But so it is connected to the stage, and not all of them are. And I said, okay, I think you can sit in here and we can just we found like a water bottle or something. We'll just prop open the door. You can look through the crack of the door and watch the show. So Caitlin, pull up the picture. I mean, I assume she doesn't mind if I share this, of me with the mom and baby, not the whole group, but the mom and baby. And by the way, another thing, listen, how iconic is this? Prepare yourself, because you're about to hear the most iconic thing you've ever heard. This mom came to my show with a shirt that she had made with the phrase "breed recklessly." She brought a baby to the show with, and this was, not her first baby, with the phrase "breed recklessly." Amazing, iconic. Can you imagine if like that she had gotten turned away like that? I mean, I know I'd retire. I'd become a desert hermit. I mean, that would be it for me. So, as you can see in this picture, JF on YouTube.com. This is episode 234. You can look it up on YouTube. Just as an aside, I mean, green rooms are actually specially designed to have the worst lighting that you can possibly have. So not the best picture of all of us, but so these two gals and the baby ended up sitting in my green room, and all the green room food is comped. And so, and I don't usually eat before, or I never eat before shows. So I was like, look, do it up, order everything. I mean, it's comped. So my green room party is, it is comped. And, some of the staff was a little worried about the legality of that. I was like, say, it's my manager. This is my manager. So she became my manager that night. I was like, yeah, my manager has to be here. So they ordered desserts. They ordered food. I was like, just get whatever you want. I don't care. It's on my green room bill. So they ended up getting the full green room experience. And then the funny thing is, okay, so my opener, great gal, Emily Zell, Zell, so funny. She's a teacher. I liked her so much. She understood what clean comedy is. That was very exciting. So what's so funny is I had left the green room to deal with something, and I walked back in, and I started talking to what I thought was the mom of the baby, but it was Emily, my opener. I mean, I just met her. I did not know her before this night. She's sitting in my green room holding a baby. So play that video. So when you found out this video, when you found out you're doing comedy tonight, did you think you would also be babysitting?
I definitely did not, but maybe she could be my opener.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's a heckler. We might have to kick her out. She's a heckler. Yeah. So that was it. Emily thought that was so funny. She said, "Yeah, I've opened for so many people in so many different places, and never got tasked up with holding a newborn baby in the green room." And so Caitlin put up the shot of the whole squad. You'll see to my left, JF on YouTube.com. Corey is to my left. Notice in this shot, you really should look this up on YouTube. Every single one of them has an inside joke from the podcast on their shirts. Mm-hmm. Now you understand why I almost started crying when I thought that this wasn't going to work out for the baby. I mean, to have them be this iconic and this amazing, I mean, I was just losing my mind and especially that it was my fault. It was 100% my fault that I messed up which venue to get the baby permission on. So, what is some of the, okay, Corey's wearing a shirt that says lit. We have Meow, Breed Recklessly, of course, and I can't read the
Psalm 64 woman.
Oh, yeah. Psalm 64 woman. Yes.
And then hers says iteration.
Iteration. Oh, yeah, iterating. Yeah. So, it's an interesting story of just the clash of the culture of life. Comedy clubs are shocked by this, usually in kind of a negative way. They're like I had a guy say to me at a comedy club, he said, well, who would bring a baby out to a club? That just seems, I just don't know if I think that's good parenting. I mean, this guy was like 23, he's not like raising a bunch of kids. And I did explain to him, I wasn't being argumentative because I'm very non-confrontational, but I said, here's the thing. I said, my fans, they tend to have a lot of kids. And when you have quite a few kids, you don't care anymore. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, here's what you realize when you're part of the culture of life and babies become not this aberration, not this like crazy lightning strike once in a blue moon thing. You start to see it as just part of the fabric of life. Babies are a normal part of the backdrop of life. And you know what I think is interesting and kind of ironic is that the secular culture, which you know, John Paul II, I think kind of accurately called a culture of death, they are very big on perfectionist parenting. That if you, from the minute that baby is born, from the time that that baby is 18 years old, you better shut your whole life down. Listen, from the time that baby is born until they're 5, you had better be on the floor with them, playing blocks and playing toys with them and playing baby games with them, minimum 6 hours a day. And then, you need to like get them the perfect education. And basically, you can't do anything with your life ever. You have to put your life completely on hold. Well, in the culture of life, it's so normal to have children around, and it's so normal to have babies around, that the children and the babies are all part of this seamless whole. Yes, your life, of course, it changes. Of course, you make sacrifices for your kids, but they also come into what you are doing. And so, yeah, if you have a hot fire comedian who does amazing comedy and doesn't come to your city very often, if you can legally, I mean, some clubs won't let you, as we have found out, but if you can, you just bring the baby along, because I think we've all observed that when people have that perfectionist, I would never have my baby out after 7:30 p.m. because that is the baby's bedtime. Well, you know what happens is they stop wanting to have more babies. Even if something tugs on their heart that might be the right path for them, that might be what they're called to do, that might be the right destiny for them. They're like, I can't not live. Like I can't be fake and pretend to be someone I'm not for like tons and tons and tons of more years. Whereas the culture of life is like, yeah, the babies and I are going to work it out together. It's going to be a real give and take situation here with me and this baby. And sometimes the baby got to take one for the team. And when you have that attitude, you can have lots of babies and it doesn't completely shut down your life. And so it's much more of like a pro-life, pro-culture of life, pro-baby thing to be like, yeah, I'm taking the baby to the comedy club. Like, everybody relax, because, life doesn't and shouldn't stop just because you have a baby. Like, it's not even good for the baby. It's not even what kids want. So, but the main point in me sharing that story is to say that it was thanks to this nervous system stuff that I'm going to detail a little more, that I was able to calm down enough to just kind of think through this and make a situation work that I think everyone ended up being happy with. And by the way, if anyone's thinking, all right, I'm going to rent a baby to go to Jen's show because then I get free food in the green room, that was a God thing. It doesn't always work. That club manager happened to be very, very cool. It is quite possible that we could get a manager who is like, the law is the law. Absolutely not even in your green room. I do not recommend trying that. Don't try it. Call the club. And last thing before I get to the main topic, yes, I am ready to fight this culture. See, this is why you guys need to make sure I get the Comedy Millions and I get fame and clout, because listen, if I can go to some city and sell huge numbers, well, then I have clout. I can go to a theater and be like, guess what? I am not playing your theater unless you welcome babies and do not charge additional ticket fees for babies. But right now, if Jen Fulwiler says, I won't play your theater unless you meet my demands, they're like, yeah, you couldn't sell our theater. Like, we don't want you to play our theater. So that's why we need Jen to be rich and famous, is really kind of the takeaway there, so that I can throw around my weight and change policies at entertainment venues. Okay, before I hit this main topic, on the Village Hustle Patreon, I did something really cool. It's episode 69, just came out. I give you an AI prompt that you can copy and paste, where you have AI write a story of a day in your life, a year from now or whatever time period you want, and like a vivid, detailed story. And what you do is you plug in, what are your goals? What would you like to change in your life? You just plug that into the prompt I gave. It's like Mad Libs. They're just blanks, like name your problem, name what you would like to be different. You copy paste this into ChatGPT, you will cry. You will 100% cry when you get this. It's really magical, and you can copy paste that ChatGPT prompt from episode 69 of the Village Hustle Patreon that just came out. That is patreon.com/thisisjen, patreon.com/thisisjen. And I should always say, with the Patreon, you can cancel anytime. Patreon makes it easy to cancel. There's no, you know how it, with some places, like you sign up and it's like, oh, it's like the mafia, there's no getting it. I'm a Patreon subscriber to a bunch of people, and it's no big deal. Like you just unsubscribe when you're done. It's totally fine. Okay. Main topic. Hearing the laugh track in your life rather than the condemning voices, rather than the negative, you're a failure, you're always screwing up your kids are going to have a horrible childhood. Here's the way that it is easier said than done to actually be able to hear the laugh track. I had this idea. I mean, the idea was given to me by some, positive thinking book or something that I read many years ago. I like the idea. Sure, we should lighten up. We should laugh at ourselves. We should not take everything that goes wrong so seriously. We shouldn't listen to those negative voices in our heads. But how? And I've been struggling with that for the longest time. I've watched some amazing videos about the art of letting go. There are a bunch of hippies on YouTube that talk about that. Or from the Christian perspective, it's like the art of allowing, the art of surrender. All of these things, they're very beautiful, powerful concepts. And I was like, yes, I love this. And then I can't find the snow globe. And I'm like, my life is a desert fire. I can't So how do you actually do it in practice? Well, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to talk about the same thing once again. You do JournalSpeak. I'm telling you. But here's kind of an interesting thing. I actually have data for you about how well JournalSpeak works. Caitlin, I'm going to airdrop you something that I forgot to airdrop you. So while I am airdropping that, let me set this up. I've been posting content, whether it's sketches or stand-up comedy, on Instagram for many years. And I've had quite a few things go viral, but in the past couple of years, I have definitely had things that got over the 1 million mark. That's not too crazy. I mean, it's exciting. Doesn't happen all the time, but it's happened. But getting over 2 million is a barrier that I do not usually cross. And in fact, I can't think of the last time. Let's just take Instagram as one example, or YouTube Shorts, to make sure the algorithm does not ding what I'm saying here. But you can look at my Instagram. My numbers are public. Like, look at the Reels numbers. It's been a long time since I've had something that got over 2 million views. Then last week, yeah, you can just keep that up, Caitlin. Just last week, as of this recording, less than a week ago, I posted 2 things. Did you get a second video? Mm-hmm. You can put that one up too. I posted 2 things.
Gonna play.
Oh, it should be a screenshot. Is that? I think it's a screenshot. Yeah, the second thing I airdropped you is a screenshot.
Oh, this is the screenshot.
Huh?
One's a video, one's a screenshot.
Okay. This is okay. Whatever. Nothing's easy. All right. What I'm airdropping you here for sure is a screenshot. Okay. So last week, I posted 2 pieces of content. And again, having one get over 1 million is pretty rare. It's not unheard of, but it's pretty rare. Over 2 million is like, it doesn't happen. So last week, I had one video. You can see the screenshot, JF on youtube.com. This hasn't even been up a week, and it already has 5.2 million views. And then the other thing I posted last week has 4 million views. Just simply based on numbers. An objective third party would say something happened there. If you're stalking my Instagram, it's a little hard to see because we pinned one of them, so they're not right next to each other like when they're posted. But if you could see them in chronological order, you would see these, medium level views, whatever, what are some basic levels of views, and then boom, something happens last week. You know what happened? I learned to relax my nervous system. I learned to see my life as a sitcom, not as an episode of Game of Thrones. So we will actually play, and you don't really need the video for this. We'll play the video that I did that has, what is it at? 4.2 million or something?
It's at 4 right now.
Yeah. So this one has, 4 million views as of right now. And I'll tell you something about it afterwards, if you want to see it. That's jfonyoutube.com, or you can look it up on Instagram. It was posted the first week of December 2024. But it's about the you'll see if you're just listening on audio. There's a movie poster in the background of the Netflix. It's a Hallmark style Christmas movie called Hot Frosty. So that's what I'm talking about here. And Caitlin, play the clip. I just watched this movie in which a woman puts her scarf on a snowman and he comes to life and they fall in love. Here are my questions. Does the scarf have the power to bring anything to life? Are we talking gargoyles, lawn gnomes? Is this on the table? Do we need to worry about the government getting a hold of this scarf technology and bringing objects to life for nefarious military purposes? Snowman she put the scarf on was a sculpture of a really ripped guy. If she'd put it on like a regular Frosty snowman, what would that dude have looked like? The guy spoke English immediately. Does this scarf convey on the snowman the ability to speak the scarf owner's language, like if she spoke Swedish, would the guy speak Swedish, or is this an English-only scarf? The snowman immediately becomes a skilled handyman because he found HGTV. What would have happened if he had stumbled across a true crime channel instead? I'm bringing my stand-up comedy tour to these cities soon. We can discuss these important questions at these shows. Tickets at the link in my profile. By the way, there's an entire discussion about the way I hold cups. I was holding a glass of iced coffee, and what I learned is that I hold iced coffee in a very weird way. You can look at the comments on Instagram. People think I hold coffee in a very weird way. You can see for yourself by looking it up on Instagram or on YouTube. And let me know in the YouTube comments, do I hold coffee in a weird way? I thought everyone does that thing with their pinky finger that I did. Now, if you're listening on audio, in this video, I have rollers in my hair and very little makeup on. And I am wearing this sweater. It's a V-neck sweater. It is in my color palette, since I know my colors now, but it is not particularly nice. I got it at Target. It's been through the dryer one too many times. And what's interesting about this is that was not shtick. That was not part of the bit or whatever that I would talk about this with my hair in rollers. Here's what happened. And this is a nervous system regulation dealing with funds, fired up nervous system. Or as people who are real, who talk about this kind of thing, Nicole Sachs and others, they would call it TMS. I call it funds. This is a nervous system regulation thing. If you've ever recorded anything for social media, even if you only have a private account, just a little video or something, it can be a little intimidating. People are going to see it. Are they going to judge it? I mean, it's, you never fully get over that. It feels awkward. And in the past, when my life had the Game of Thrones soundtrack for everything I ever did. Oh, I couldn't hear it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
When this was the soundtrack to everything I ever did, I would have overthought that. I would have overthought everything, frankly. And I would have said, okay, well, first of all, I wouldn't have done it because I would have said, I don't have time. I'm doing my hair. I had to film something professional, like a shout out for a show that a club wanted or something, or maybe we were doing the podcast. I don't remember, but, or maybe we were going somewhere. But there was some reason that my hair had to be done. So I wanted to keep it in rollers for a little while. I had a bunch of stuff to do around the house. I had to finish dinner before the kids got home. And there was just so much to do. And so my thinking was, in my old funds, nervous system going crazy, everything is Game of Thrones mentality, my thinking was that, well, I can't do this today because I haven't scripted it out. And obviously I couldn't film something with my hair in rollers, obviously. And I just thought, well, I guess I won't get it done because I would want to do my makeup to present myself the right way and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. Because I had been releasing all of my inner crazy talk through JournalSpeak, and to review briefly, you set a timer for 20 minutes. You do have to stick to 20 minutes. Do not go short. Do not go a minute shorter. 20 minutes. Nicole Sachs, who you need to look up, I will link her in the show notes. She has a specific way to do it. The way I've morphed that a little bit for me, what works for me is I do bullet points of everything that has stressed me out in the past hour. It could be things that actually happened in the past hour or just a thought, who I hate? Like, yeah, that girl in third grade, man, she was, it can be anything. And then the ones that I feel are kind of potent, like there's something there. I say, what are my thoughts telling me about this? And then I write in the voice of the thoughts. So I do not write, I think I feel like I'm a loser, because then you won't get to the inner temper tantrum. And that is what JournalSpeak is all about. If what you are writing does not feel viscerally and sound like a toddler throwing a temper tantrum, you probably have not gone deep enough. Because by definition, JournalSpeak is about getting to those thoughts and emotions that we suppress. And you wouldn't be suppressing them if it was a normal, balanced thing to think. I was telling Caitlin before the show, the JournalSpeak I did last night, for minutes 1 through 18, it was like this nice, and then we hit it, the 18-minute miracle. Okay, we got it, and it sounded insane. Like so I write in the voice, not in my voice, but in the voice of my thoughts are telling me. So the voice of the unhinged thoughts would be like, like you're going to fail at this and it's going to be the worst and you always fail and fate is against you and you don't have a chance. You never have a chance. No one ever accepts you. Again, I, Jen Fulwiler, I do not think that. I truly do not. But those thought fragments were somewhere within me. And that emotion needed to be let out. And then when I let it out, it lifted. So all this is to say, I've been stuck in these cycles of overthinking so long because my nervous system was jacked up, because it was funds. It was fired up nervous system. TMS. And think about it. It makes sense, because when do we overthink? We overthink when something really matters a lot. Imagine that you were tasked with disarming a bomb that was, like in a public place. If your job was to disarm that, well, you'd probably overthink it. For good, that's good. Your nervous system is like, hey, let's not just jump in and do this. Let's what's the green wire? What's the red wire? So overthinking it's actually that it has its purpose. If you're hiking with someone and they're injured and you've got to do like rudimentary surgery, to keep them alive, you're not going to be like, I'll just take a knife and, it'll work out. No, you are going to overthink it. You're going to be a little bit frozen because this is very high stakes. So for those of us to take it back to what I said at the very beginning of the show, because my crazy nervous system thinks that the smallest things in the world are high stakes, especially if it is related to acceptance versus rejection. I have a lot of trauma on that one. You don't end up in this line of work for no reason. Let me just say that. So, because I have this, particularly issues around that department, when it comes to creating content or, whatever, I go into bomb disarming mode. It's like, well, I couldn't have my bangs like that and record a video. I couldn't wear, like glossy lipstick and record a video. Because I've been working on my nervous system, because I have been working on hearing the laugh track to life, like seeing my life through this lens, not through the Game of Thrones lens, and through this JournalSpeak process, I was like, wait, why couldn't I just make some commentary on this movie with my hair in rollers? Like, literally, why not? It's the moment where I realized, this is not disarming a bomb. It's not at that same level of importance. I can't describe to you the freedom when I was like, wait, I want to leave my hair in rollers. This is the only time to film this video. Wait, I could just film it with my hair in rollers. And how many views? 4 million. 4 million views. It has not even been up a week. It has like 160,000 likes, not views, likes. It's going crazy. I have all these new followers. All of these people are talking about it. It's also doing well on the other platforms as well. It really resonated with people. And I think, is the comedy hot fire? Like, talk amongst yourselves. Leave a YouTube comment on that. But I do think that part of the reason it's doing so well is that you can just sort of sense a feeling of just being kind of free. That I really didn't care. I didn't care because my nervous system finally realized that I'm not disarming a bomb. So I didn't seem rigid. I didn't seem like I'm desperate for this to do well or get approval. I was like, I literally don't care if this gets 1,000 views. I honestly do not. I don't care if people tell me I look stupid for having my hair in rollers. Like, this isn't disarming a bomb. I don't care. And then I could actually start to have fun. I have written more stand-up comedy since I've been doing this JournalSpeak thing in the past couple of weeks, and stand-up comedy that works, like I do it on stage and it kills, than I did in the previous 6 months. No kidding. And then the other thing that got 5 million views, now that's stand-up, and that was filmed before I was doing this nervous system stuff, but I was thinking about not posting it because, again, overthinking disarming a bomb mode. I was like, I don't like the coloring on this one. I think it's too dark. I don't like this clip. People won't think it's funny. And I don't start with a complete sentence, so that will be confusing. 5 million views later, turns out that I didn't need to be in bomb disarming mode. So I will end with this. For those of you, and I think that's most of us, even those of you who are sane. Well, let's be real. If you're, if you listen to my episodes until the very end, I got some bad news for you.
You're not sane.
You got some problems. So let's skip that. Okay, so you're crazy. Welcome. We understand each other, and your life will change when you get out of bomb disarming mode into laugh track. But no, not the exit.
I can't keep up tonight. Yeah, I'm not with it.
I should do a hand signals of which one is which. All right, now you can hit the exit music. Okay, so yeah, your life will change. And when you 20 minutes a day, JournalSpeak. And you have to stick with 20 minutes. Don't go a minute shorter. Right in the voice of my thoughts are telling me, watch what happens to your nervous system. And then you'll be posting viral videos too. All right, guys, you're amazing. I will be back next week here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.